Welcome back, guys. Moving on to the next question. The length of a rectangle is 3 times its width. If the width is increased by 2 centimeters and the length is increased by 4 centimeters, its area will be doubled. Find the original dimensions of the rectangle. So let's draw a diagram of what is happening here. So we have a rectangle and the length is 3 times the width. So let's say we let the width be x. That means the length is going to be 3x. Right? So the area of this triangle currently is equal to what? 3x, the length, times the width. So 3x times x, which gives us 3x squared. That's the area of our original rectangle. Now we're told that if we have a new rectangle where from the original the width is increased by 2 centimeters, so the width now is going to be x plus 2, right? It was originally x, now we're increasing it by 2 centimeters, so it's going to be x plus 2, and the length is increased by 4, so this length 3x increased by 4. We're told that the area is going to double. It's going to be double this area here. So if we know that the area here is 3x squared, then we know the new area, let's call this area new, is equal to 2 times 3x squared. Right? Does that make sense? 2 times the old area, and we know the old area is 3x squared. So that means that the new area is going to equal 6x squared. So what can we do with that information? Well, we know that the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. And if we know that the length times the width has to equal 6x squared, then notice we can make an equation with one variable. So length, 3x plus 4, times the width, x plus 2, has to equal 6x squared. Right? So we have an equation now that we can solve. So here we would FOIL everything. So we would have 3x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 8. That's equal to 6x squared. And then let's bring everything over to the right side, right? So bringing this 3x squared over, 6x squared minus 3x squared, that gives us 3x squared. 6x plus 4x is 10x, but when we bring that over, it becomes negative 10x. And then this positive 8 becomes negative 8. And now this is just a quadratic equation to solve. And there is multiple ways to solve it. You could try to factor it. You could throw in the quadratic formula. I think this is actually going to factor smoothly. So if we do factor this, 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. So two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add up to negative 10. That would be what? Negative 12 and positive 2. Negative 12, positive 2. Right? Both of those work. So we can actually split up that negative 10x into negative 12x plus 2x. And then the first term, 3x squared, and the last term, minus 8, those stay the same. Then from these first two, we could factor out a 3x, so we'd be left with x minus 4. Right? Yeah. And then from here, we could factor out a 2, so we'd be left with x minus 4. So this factors into 3x plus 2, x minus 4, and there's still that 0 on the left side. Right? And then from here, easy to see, x can either be negative 2 over 3 or x can be 4. Those are your two solutions. So if you plug this here into the quadratic formula, those are the two solutions you can get. Now what does x represent? If you remember, x represents the width of the original rectangle. So notice that we have negative 2 over 3, but we can't have a negative width. So we would just ignore that solution. So x is just equal to 4. So when they ask you to find the original dimensions of the rectangle, these original dimensions here. So if we plug in an x value of 4, this would be 4, the width would be 4, and then 3 times 4 is 12. So the original dimensions are 12 centimeters by 4 centimeters. Right? Makes sense? And then you can actually check your answer with the scenario. So if the original dimensions are 12 centimeters by 4 centimeters, we know the area is what? 12 centimeters by 4 centimeters is 48 centimeters squared. Well, the new rectangle, the width is increased by 2 centimeters. So instead of 4, we're going to have 6 centimeters as the width. And then the length is increased by 4. So instead of 12, we're going to have 16. And 6 by 16, that gives us what? 96 centimeters squared. And notice that 96 centimeters squared is double 48 centimeters squared, right? Which is what happened. The area is going to be doubled. So we could be pretty confident that our solution, the way we did it, is correct. So the answer to the question, 12 centimeters by 4 centimeters, are the original dimensions of the rectangle.